Hello, welcome back to Squashwarp in Kerbal Space Program. I'm Luke, and I believe this is episode 38, and boy, is it a torrential downpour right now, which is fitting because we're going to launch a space plane. So let me, this is a new space plane, let me get the passengers lined up, and we'll get going. Alright, we've hired Sam G. Kerman to be a pilot. We've got Hadzon, Wenwig, and Sean Z. Kerman, who are gonna be our guinea pigs for this first ever launch of the Vrock 2 SSTO. I don't really think this is gonna be the best SSTO design, but I've certainly seen worse in my own designs. Let's get going and I'll explain. It's a Mark II space plane with rapiers instead of what we had. The Vrock and the Vrock Passenger used turbofans and nuclear engines, and we've been using rapiers for our size 3 SSTOs, so it was time to design a Mark II SSTO with the new engine capabilities. I think maybe the wings are too wide. It's probably not an optimized SSTO, but I was able to make it work in the testing, which actually I'm realizing did not have Kerbals on board, so the mass of the Kerbals might cause a problem. But we're going to fly this up into orbit, and boy, is it a rainy day. I'm sure that in real life this would not be a good idea. I'm going to level us out and wait until we hit 450 meters per second. Actually, I need to go to 500 meters per second because we lose so much velocity when I pitch up. So we're going to go to 500 meters per second, then we're going to pitch up. We'll level out around 13 kilometers. And wait until we can't get any more juice out of these jets, and then we will fire up the rockets and go the rest of the way. Let's see how it goes. Well, so far so good. We don't have a big delta V margin, but it's enough to do what we need to do. Let's load in the space station and do a docking, and then I'll explain why we're here. Alright, this space station has gotten even bigger. That was a bit of a precarious docking because, as you might have noticed, we were very close to the centrifuge there, but we managed to connect up there. So, the reason we're here, we've got a resupply of life support, so supplies in great abundance. We're going to transfer those into the space station. And then the tourists, one of them needed to go to orbit, two of them needed to go to Aboleth, or maybe it was the other way around, but whatever. And they needed a pilot, so the pilot is here. Let's level up the pilot while we can. Where is the level up crew? There it is. They became level 1 tourists. That's nice. So I'm going to transfer some life support, and then I'm going to time accelerate until the Kerbals have been here long enough. And I'll be back with you in a second. We've transferred the supplies. One thing I'm thinking about doing is we're running out of docking ports, and we're going to have more shipments of fuel coming. The truth is that this fuel tank, I am not using it. This is an older design of fuel tank. These three are the ones that are going around between the moon and Minmus doing all the work. This one is got less capacity, and it doesn't have as new a probe core, so it's not as fun to fly, so I've basically just been leaving it here as storage. But we could empty it, or mostly empty it, and just deorbit it, and then we wouldn't have it anymore, and it would be one less thing floating in space. So I think I'm going to do that. I don't know, maybe I'll regret it someday, but I think that that's a valid thing to do. So it doesn't have any monopropellant. I do want to give it a little, just enough to back away from the space station. That's fine. And then let's get everything else pumped out of it. Stand by. Okay, that should be enough fuel to deorbit. Let's make this happen. Back away from the space station. And thrust up just to get us out of the vicinity. Point retrograde. And I won't worry about where we're coming down. Although it would be nice to come down over an ocean. So, where are we? Is that us? Let's aim for an ocean and see what we get. Because we might be able to recover something if it lands in the ocean. A little faster. How about there? Let's call that good. We'll face surface retrograde when we get there, and we'll do this fast. Well, I actually had the Delta V to soft land it, but I didn't start burning nearly soon enough. But, we got the poodle back, if I can figure out how to recover it. Alright, let's get this tourism contract stuff finished, and then we'll fly Vrock 2 home, and then we'll work on sending Aboleth on a mission. Apparently we have returned home from a flyby of Minmus. What? Oh boy. Who knows what the contracts are doing? It's getting laggy out at Manticore. The tourists are done, so we're going to work on flying them home. So let's save, and let's get this heading back. If I can undock, there we go. All right, I've never flown home with this, nor have I tried to go to the runway with this. So this will be an experiment. Let's see how I do. we had to use the engines a little bit. And we're not coming back with much remaining Delta V. I need to check whether my oxidizer and my liquid fuel are balanced right, because we might have too much oxidizer and not enough liquid fuel. But pretty good for a first trial. I'm going to look at my fuel for a second, and then we're going to... I think the next thing is aboleth. Yeah, it looks like we got... Well, let me experiment. All right, we had 130 units of oxidizer that we didn't use. So for the next launch, the next time we build this thing, I could try emptying some of that. But I'm going to recover to the spaceplane hangar so that we can just launch this thing exactly the same again. And we'll just deal with the fact that we have a little too much oxidizer, not quite enough liquid fuel for our SSDO purposes. Okay, aboleth. Well, I've transferred some fuel into aboleth, and I just need to confirm that everybody who's supposed to be on aboleth is in fact on aboleth, and then we can go on the first leg of our mission. Oh, I need to put some life support on it too. Supplies are pretty full. Let me fill those up. Yep, there's 10 Kerbals on aboleth. We're just going to do 10 this time instead of 11. Okay. Let's back away, and then let's find a good time to do our burn. I think here is good. Let's just warp here. Get a little bit of distance from the space station. Good. We have 41 days of life support. And Manticore has so much life support. Okay, we're all good. We need to check on Questing Night. It thinks they don't have any life support. Let's turn prograde, and we're going to do a burn to interplanetary space again. I'll fast forward through this. And then we're going to switch to Space Camp, because Space Camp is going to be done. Oh, but I got to go to Questing Night and fix their life support. Just running around. The commander has to go all over the place. I don't know if I'm called the commander in this game. That's XCOM, but I'm sticking to it. I've cut some of this out because you can't see anything happening. It's occurring to me that the moon is kind of in a place where we might encounter it, so I always forget to check where the moon is before we do interplanetary burns, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we're going to burn out to the edge of Kerbin's sphere of influence, hopefully with no moon interference. We're on our way to interplanetary space. We'll add an alarm for our sphere of influence change in 20 days. And let's go, what did I say I have to do? Check on Questing Night. Yeah, now that I'm here, it has reset the life support. Let's transmit science while we're here. We're still reflecting some kind of strange light on the surface of Gilly, but ignore that. I'm gonna check on the science labs in various places, and then we'll switch to the space camp. Got 300 science from the Questing Night lab. One of my solar panels is broken. I don't remember doing that. Well, we're not generating enough electric charge anymore then. We're going to have to repair. Because, hang on, let me try rotating the space station. Okay. I've opened enough solar panels and I shut off a couple of habitats, and now we are earning electric charge, but only, but only very slowly. So we need to repair that solar panel or send up more power in a future mission. Anyway, we got 480 science to send, so let's send the science and time accelerate through losing the power. Okay, we did it. Okay, there was 400 something science at Manticore. Now we're not getting that much. We're getting 40% of that much. Okay, let's check on Minmus. 480 science from the lab at Dryad. 240 science from the Archmage at Duna. So I'm going to set up an alarm to check on science 25 days from now. No, this is where I write. Lab check in 25 days. Make this alarm repeat when triggered. Because now we have another 1,000 science. Let's see if we want to buy any tech nodes. So what I decided after thinking long and hard about this is that I think I'm probably going to try to leapfrog the near future technology and go straight to far future technology, if I can. We'll see if I'm capable of that. But first we're going to do colonization. We're going to work on unlocking colonization tech. Then we'll work on unlocking the advanced engines from far future. So, I need to check some things. What I'm trying to find is the Tundra assembly plant. For example, this is the Tundra agriculture module. I don't know why I said it that way. This is the Tundra Curbitat. But there's also supposed to be a Tundra assembly plant or something like that. At least in versions of the mod that there are tutorials for. But I don't see it anywhere, so I'm just going to assume that we'll unlock it somewhere in here, because I don't see where it is. I'm tempted to get this probe core because I'm tired of putting Mark II probe cores on things, but instead we're going to work towards an experimental science. It gives us a gamma ray spectrometer that I don't think we need for anything. Helps us detect antimatter someday. Or water scanner. These are all scanner things. It gives us a larger ore tank. Gives us a cryo tank. I think planetary whatever the planetary colonization mod, I forget what it's from, gives us these. I'm not sure. It's compatible with some other mod, but I don't think I'm going to use it. I don't really need anything on this tech node, but the tech node after that gives me the big drills, and it would be really nice to have bigger drills for our industrialization of Minmus efforts. I'm going to get experimental science. Meanwhile, our space camp is about to be complete, so let's look at Celestial Station Core. I'm going to fast forward until they're done, and then we'll fly them home. Okay, they've been there 40 days. Look, the Space Center is having a solar eclipse because of the moon. I gotta go check that out real quick. Yep, sure enough, it's dark at the Space Center, but it's a blue sunny day everywhere else. That is so cool. I see these eclipses on the surface of Kerbin from time to time, but I don't think I've ever been in one. We're actually in a solar eclipse. But you can see that because it's not like morning, it's just eclipse time. That is really cool. All right, let's fly our tourists home. Some of them may join the space program. Okay, here we are at the space station. I'll double check that the contract is actually complete. Yep, hold a space camp just requires me to recover the Kerbals. Let's make sure all the Kerbals are where we think they are. All the Kerbals are where they're supposed to be. Gosh, that was hard to get out. Let's undock. Switch to the plane. That way. Now, actually, let's point retrograde, and we'll go forward a bit. Because before we send the crew home, we actually should send the space station to a higher orbit. So let's point prograde with you, because I doubled up. This is both the space camp space station, but also the first half of the space hotel. Doesn't need lights, there's nobody aboard. And I believe we have the Delta V to transfer to a higher orbit, so let us do so. I'm going to power up. I don't need that much thrust. We're going to overshoot our target if I'm not careful. I'm shooting for 375. There we go, 375 kilometers. Let's just warp to our apoapse, because I want to put it in position before I try to dock something with it. It'll be harder to move after it's turned into a space station. We just need to send up room for another 25 Kerbals, and then we've technically done the space hotel contract. The sense of scale gets all messed up, because this is much bigger than our other space station cores. But you can't really get a sense of scale without other ships by it. But these are the 2.5 meter parts, and these are the 3 meter parts, whereas most of our space stations are a mixture of 1 and 2. All right, let's circularize. Let's do radial out to try to get this more circular. It's the periaps that has to be above 350. So actually, this is fine. 372 by 384. I don't want to be... I don't need to mess around too much with getting this perfect. And now what I can do is I can deorbit the launch stage. Let's quick save, and then let's hope that I am correct that I can do that. This should be that. Let's go. No, let's try again. Okay. Point retrograde. And throttle up. Okay. And we'll just watch you fall. Down toward the planet. And I'll do this fast. Well, the good news is that the engine didn't overheat, but the bad news is I think we're landing on the land. If we were landing in the water, we might recover some of this. But landing on the land, maybe not. Ooh, we might go in the water. Alright, let's see what we get back. A perfect deorbit. Surprise some beachgoers. Oh, recover. That's funny. Okay. To return the passenger mission with all these Kerbals, I'm just going to quick save once. And then I'm going to try to land on the runway. Why am I thrusting with all 8 engines? Or all 6? It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to do 2. Anyway. Come on. It was a little rough. And I can't get it to turn to the right. I don't know why. I've been trying to get it on the runway this whole way down the runway. But parachute's doing work for us to make sure that we slow down before the end. Well, not my best landing, but at least we got back to the Space Center without turning the engines on. Okay, let's see if we get any new recruits. Hold a Space Camp. This was a great success, and we got a new pilot, engineer, and scientist ready for future missions. I was hoping we would get more than that, but that's okay. We got 3 new Kerbals. Let's check in on them. B-Man, Tom Fred, and Kerbal. I love it. I'm so glad that we got Kerbal. Kerbal Kerman is a scientist. Okay. Meanwhile, well, they're ready right away, so they're about to be ready, and then Liz, Doc, Samson, and Megan have to wait 6 days before they're ready again, but good. We now have 35 active Kerbals, which is absolutely insane. And 28 of them are in space, which is even more insane. With all those things out of the way, I'm going to start skipping time to when things unlock and to when spacecraft are ready to launch. I'll see you soon. Well, we've let some time pass, and now the Ike Lander and the Ike ISRU, Quasit and Vampire, are on their way to Duna, and they'll be arriving soon, so we're going to time accelerate until then. We're going to set up maneuvers. I don't know why I'm saying we. I'm going to set up maneuvers. We're going to try to get to Ike. Okay, we've crossed into the sphere of influence. I've set up a maneuver. It's not going to Ike yet, but we'll see if we can make it go to Ike. Okay, this is not working, so I have to do some math. Ike's... I need to know how long it takes to orbit. Does not say, does it? Oh no, but it tells me the rotational period and it's tidally locked, so that tells me what I need. It takes 3 days. So if I make an orbit with a period that is about, well, this is, I need it to go 1/4 of the way. So 3 days is 6 hours times 3, which is 18 hours. 1/4 of 18 is a little more than 4. So I need it to take 14 hours to get back to, right. I need my orbital period to be 2 days, 2 hours. That's my plan. There we go. Now we're seeing where the maneuver is, or where the rendezvous is. Problem is it has to be polar, so let me fiddle with this. Starting to run low on fuel. We need to be able to land. Let me check what it takes to land on Ike. For safety, I want about 600 meters per second left over when all of this is done, and I think I'm going to have that because that's 1,000 minus... Yeah, okay, that's going to work. Let's get pointed that direction. And I don't think we need to respect the maneuver. I think we can just burn where we are. Okay, that looks kind of dangerous, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's just warp there and see what happens. I probably want about 15 kilometers, because I need to rendezvous with the Aboleth eventually. There we go, 16. Alright, add a maneuver to circularize. And we don't have to completely circularize, so we can go to like 30. Okay, we're here. And we just have to wait for, let me get into the sun so I can verify which way the solar panels are going to be pointed. But we just have to wait for Aboleth to transfer out and we could do a rendezvous. Once Aboleth maps Ike, then we'll know where to land the ISRU. Because we're not landing it yet because we don't know where the ore is. Good, that's it. Let me see what's going on next. The Duna map is getting close. It's still a bit spotty. We want to get 100% on the multispectral before we move the spacecraft over to Ike. Oop, Duna Rise on Ike. That looks cool. Ike and Duna are tidally locked, if I understand correctly, and so they will always appear in one another's skies in roughly the same place. Okay. We'll be going down there before too long. Okay, we're getting a base creation on Minmus contract. This is what I wanted. I will be doing this anyway, so as long as I have a solar panel, it basically says any kind of power generation. Land near Minmus rover, that's the plan. Set the vessel type to base. Has at least 4 kerbals. Or can support 4 kerbals, which it will. It's going to support 6. So let's do that. Good, that's what I was hoping for. There's this. Oh. Bring some kerbals to Basilisk Station. At least 1. I will do that in the course of doing everything else anyway. So yes, good. They're paying me to do what I want to do. That never happens. That's great. I accepted this comet detection thing just to see if it would work at all. So bear witness. I have accepted this. I'm supposed to detect 3 comets. If I go to active, it should be here somewhere. But, there it is. So, I don't know what happened to the other one, so let's see what happens. There's a Kerbin Dres window coming up in 2 days, but we're going to ignore that, although the Periton mission is going to reach Dres soon. So we're skipping this Dres window. Do I have a future Dres window marked out? Yes, I do. In 1 year, 47 days, we'll have another Dres window. I'm not ready to send anything else to Dres. So in fact, I can just delete that now. We are here with Aboleth flying to the edge of Kerbin's Sphere of Influence. So we're just going to time warp until we arrive. And then we're going to get everybody some XP. And then we'll fly back. I'm kind of waiting on various things to construct, and I'm waiting on the mapping of Duna to complete, so I'm letting time pass more than I usually do, instead of micromanaging everything. So we're letting some time warp happen. Close. Let's get to the sun's orbit. There we go. Sun's orbit. We want to point retrograde, I think. Can we target Kerbin? That's the Kerbal Space Center. Can I just target Kerbin? Kerbin. Set as target. There we go. Now point towards the target. And we've been in interplanetary space, so we can level up crew. Everybody's now level 2, which is fantastic. Let's see if there's any science we've missed. Visual observation. Nobody's in the porthole. Let's, Calman, transfer into here. Space is so barren out here with nothing to see for millions and millions of kilometers. Let's transmit that back. Very good. And apparently we can do a plant growth experiment. Review data. Let's transmit that back. And then let's find a scientist. Joffrey's a scientist. Go on EVA. And take this. Restore. Observe plant growth. Keep. Take data. Grab. Board. Alright. Throttle up the engine. We want to go back into Kerbin's Sphere of Influence, please. We have a rendezvous showing up. We have a Kerbin escape. I think we are about to... There we go. Back in the Sphere of Influence. Periaps is in 15 days. I think let's burn... we're burning straight down. I think that works. Can I make my periaps any lower? A little bit. This is not necessarily the way to do it. Let's turn radial in. I'll fiddle with this and then I'll switch us to the next thing. Well, we can transfer to the moon, but we actually need to go to Minmus first, so rather stupidly we have to come all the way back to Kerbin, get more life support, and then go out to Minmus. Okay, maneuver setup. It's going to be in 15 days. We're going to have to do some lab checks between now and then. Let's see about our laboratories. Checked on some labs, got a little bit of science, and now we're going to do the rest of the trip home in Aboleth. There we go. I can't see Kerbin. I assume we're moving towards it, but I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. We got a 7.5 kilometer close approach with Manticore. See if we can improve that. We did it. It's kind of hard to dock when it's getting a little laggy, but I've done worse. I think we need a fuel transfer. So that's the next thing I have to figure out, is more fuel for Aboleth. But in the meantime, let's get some life support. Alright, we're sending tourists to Manticore Station because we needed to do a life support resupply again. Jed Bus, Patoli, and Patman. Important thing to check. Did fill tanks and launch fill the life support tanks? No. Okay, so then we don't need to do this mission, because if fill tanks and launch doesn't automatically refill the life support tanks, then we just have to build an entire new spacecraft, and there's no point in doing this. Okay. Never mind. Revert flight to spaceplane hangar. You could probably tell that I was getting a little frustrated there, but that's okay. Sometimes space is frustrating. Actually, with what I've got going on construction-wise, the truth is everything's a little stalled out at the Space Center. We have to leave the Kerbals up in space for an extended period of time. And we're getting close to finishing our scan of Duna. And then upcoming, right around the time our next launch is ready, Periton is arriving at Dres. So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to babysit the Duna mission until the scanning is complete. Then we're going to transfer to Ike and we'll start doing Ike science. Then we'll switch over to the Periton and do Dres stuff. And then we'll come back to fixing Manticore Station and finishing the Aboleth mission and stuff like that. That's the plan. Okay, I'm going to switch this over from Crew Minmus so that I can keep track of what science I'm getting at Duna. Why are they tourists? Oh, we ran out of electric charge. That's too bad. I wanted to do an EVA report from the craters. Okay. Bob, go on EVA. I'm just fast forwarding until we go over Midland Sea. Have we been to the Midland Sea? Yes, we have. I'm trying to get EVA data from space above certain areas, so it's just a little tedious, but it's okay. Western Canyon, let's try that. EVA. EVA report. Keep. Store. Let's do that again. EVA report. Keep. Yeah, so I just have to do this process. What? Store experiments. Why is my Kerbal not being oriented relative to my camera anymore? I'm having problems. I can't be bothered. There's a few more biomes that I need to get EVA data from space above, but honestly, it's not gonna happen. This is too tedious. Let's just fast forward. Okay, we're so close to completing our multispectral scan, 96.4%, but it's going very slowly. So, we get to go to Dres. Let's get into the sunlight. If we can. It might not let us. Yep, in the sun. Good. Let's make sure that we're still researching. Oh, no, it says start research. We're not researching. Start research. That's too bad. Okay, we'll have to double check all our labs after this. Clean experiment, sure. Alright, I'm going to switch over to the Periton, because I think that's what's next. Yep, 46 seconds. Okay, this is the Periton probe. It's a lander and orbiter. It's got all the science. And it looks like I've stuck 1, 2, 3... Interesting. I've got 3 mystery goo. I think one's for high altitude, one's for low altitude, and one's for the surface. Let's close alarm. And we're doing our sphere of influence change. So let's quick save. In fact, I'm going to do a named quick save. Okay, named quick save. Let's get into Dres' sphere of influence. Where is Dres? Do we see it? I don't see it. Let's warp until our thing has changed. I don't know where Dres is, but we should get a new. Okay, we've done high resolution scan-set surveys of Duna. Great. Done scan-set surveys of Duna. There's a vessel complete. There's a vessel complete. There's a vessel complete. There's a vessel complete. We have initiated the first flyby of Dres. Fantastic. Let's go to the Space Center and check on contracts. Yep, sure enough, now they will pay me to orbit Dres. We will do that. We will orbit Dres. I still don't see Dres. Look, I'm even looking at it. It's impossible to see. All right, let's fly. Hopefully it's still there. Whoa. No, I didn't. No, stop. Don't warp to Periapps. I need to look at Dres. No. Okay, let me try doing it this way. That was close. I need to set up a maneuver. There it is. Where's Dres? Why can't I see it? Okay, there it is. All right, we need a circularization maneuver. Add a maneuver at Peri-Dres. And this is good thing we've got like thousands of meters per second on this thing. Let's get into what else? That's 15. Let's get into a 75 kilometer orbit there. Turn retrograde. Quick save. And that burn is in an hour. So let's go ahead and do it. Now we are gonna flip to the next stage. So let's make sure our staging makes sense. Oh wait, we gotta do science. Hang on, let's do high altitude science while we're here. Okay. Quick save, and now science time. Let's check on our electric charge, make sure our electric charge stays okay. Magnetometer report. You've measured the interaction between the solar wind and the magnetic field, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's not very exciting. Let's transmit that. Let's turn our solar panels for ideal coverage. Even out at Dres, our solar panels are making electricity back. Now, we shouldn't get any more science from the magnetometer report, if I understand correctly. Yeah, no, it doesn't do anything. Materials no, we don't want to do the materials study. Hang on a second. That's for the surface. Reset. Gravity scan. Transmit. We can do one mystery goo. Goo seems to look for a way to escape. Let's transmit the mystery goo. Atmospheric pressure. The instrument reads 0 as if it were in a vacuum. And the temperature scan. You can't measure the temperature of space. Transmit. Well, these weren't very valuable science experiments, were they? Is gravity scan going to give us different information based on biomes? Let's find out. Where the heck is Dres? Oh, there it is. You can sort of see it that way. We're over the lowlands. Getting an alarm. What's the alarm? Okay, it's lab check time. Okay. Let's leave that open. We'll check our labs after we do this stuff. We're not getting any other... There we go. Ridges. Do a gravity scan over the ridges. Nice. Sure enough, we get unique science. So I'm going to ride this in, and I'll skip through it, and I'll see you when we actually reach our periapse. Oh, whoa. All of a sudden, we're here. We get a burn time message. We've got... Wait, hang on. Oh, I didn't set an alarm. Full power. I'm not sure what's happening. It's sort of messed this up, but hopefully it's manageable. Did quick save if need be. God, we came in fast. This is no longer an ideal situation. Let's just ignore this. Maneuver node no longer does anything. Okay. Let's capture. Let's see if this works. I didn't set up an alarm properly. That's what happened. So we're not getting our Oberth effect as ideally as intended. Let's turn off the science for a minute. What is this droppable? Oh, I see. Okay. I've got drop tanks. That's okay. This should be adequate. Our orbital velocity is only 600 now. That's good enough. Let's turn prograde warp to apoapse. Freehanding this since I messed it up. Thrust until our periapse is 70 kilometers. For the scanning equipment. Good thing I built in some margins on this, yeesh. Almost there. 75. Okay, good. And now... Whoops. Okay. I brought up the stock alarm clock. That's fine. I never learned how to use the stock alarm clock because it was never in the game, so I never learned to use it. I learned to use the regular one. I mean, the mod one. I guess this is the regular one now, but I don't know how it works. And we're gonna circularize. Bring our apoaps down. Now, unfortunately, 70 kilometers counts as space high, so we missed our chance to get space low science for the time being. We will get another chance when we go to land. Okay, I skipped through some of that. We circularized-ish. Let's make sure we got signal reception. See if I've got any other science I can do. No, I don't think so. I think we have to wait until we go to a lower altitude to do more science. But we can now start our battery of sensor systems. So let's quick save that. And let me find all of the scanners. Resource high altitude, or resource high, what is this? Resource high, apparently. Start scan resource, apparently I have 2 of them. Start scan. Start scan. Extend boom, just to make it look prettier. And start scan. How's our battery if we do that? Looks like actually we will run out of electric charge if we do that. 70 kilometers ideal. 250 ideal. This is resource high resolution. Let's stop that scan. Because this is also resource high resolution, so I'm not really sure why I have both. Okay, that's better. Let's turn off the radar. What we need is resources. We don't even need... we'll just do one at a time. What's this ideal? 300 kilometers is ideal. What's this ideal? 70. We're still draining power. Can I rotate to get better coverage? Then I should be able to hibernate in warp or something, right? Where even is my probe core? I think it's buried inside. There it is. Probodobidine Octo 2. Hibernated in warp. Still drawing power. Surprise, surprise, solar panels out at Dres are not the most effective thing. We'll turn this off too. And we'll just do the resource scan. And we'll just have to wait until that's done. I'll check in periodically. Okay, we made it to Dres. This is what Dres looks like. It's lumpy. It's got some kind of canyon scar there. Okay. I need to check on the labs, and then we've got some launches to do. While I'm checking on the Manticore lab, which I just sent science back, what I really need to do is get one of these fuel tanks back to the moon. So I'm going to transfer some fuel in, and I'm going to do a moon tanker transfer, which you don't need to watch, but just be aware that is happening. I got a weird alarm for warp to SOI that wasn't something that I was doing on purpose. So I really hope that one of my spaceships is not being abandoned, because it didn't seem to be attached to anything. So If one of my interplanetary craft just never gets to its destination, maybe that was why, but I don't know what that was, so I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing. Okay, arriving at the Moon Fuel Depot. Yeah, I really hope that whatever timer went off was not something important. Hopefully it was just a alarm clock glitch or something. I don't know. But keep checking the labs. All right, now we get to have a slew of launches, starting with Manticore Resupply 1. Let's do that. Manticore needs some help. We're gonna get that attended to. Let's launch. All right, this is a standard Paladin lifter with some SRBs, some solid rocket boosters. We're a little past our timing, but I think it'll be okay. We're gonna launch this new space station component. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is an extension to the space station, obviously. It's got a cargo container with a bunch of repair kits, since we've been needing those because we keep breaking things. Some additional solar panels and a lot of extra batteries, as well as an extension with more docking ports so that we can have more utility ports. None of these are good for crewed spacecraft because, as you can see, there's nowhere to climb through when you're inside the spacecraft. So we're not going to be docking capsules and other craft here. We're going to dock fuel tanks and utility stuff here. But that's fine. We need more room. Let's finish the docking. It takes a long time to dock now because it's got to reload the entire giant craft. But we've done it. Let's stow all solar panels, and then we can deploy all solar panels. There we go. Some of these maybe are colliding with each other. Let's double check. Yeah, these ones shouldn't go. Retract. Retract. Let's retract this one while we're at it. Okay. Should be doing much better in the electricity generation department. Now, we can also take the supplies. I'm going to do some supplies transfer because this is full of supplies. Oh, there's a moho window happening. Okay, but we're not doing a moho mission right now. Okay, we've done some transfers. Now we get to detach the service craft and see if we can return it to Kerbin. I'm not going to aim for a particular spot, so I'm not going to get my full money back, but this is more about cleaning up the vicinity of the space station since we just made the space station bigger. So let's just work on getting fewer parts around here. Everything on this thing should now be empty. Just a tiny bit of monopropellant. and that's fine. All right, let's deorbit. Goodbye, Manticore. We'll be back with you shortly. I'm sure, because we always go to Manticore. I'm going to deorbit this. It's turning. I have no idea why it's turning. It just did a really sharp bank, and it saved itself because the engine was about to overheat, and then it suddenly turned itself. I have no idea. I don't know what to say about that. Well, anyway, down we go. Looks like we're going to land in this pretty field of flowers. Are we going to fall over? Yes, but with the aid of parachutes. Very nice. Good. Well, I don't know where we are, but we recovered. You know, so that's a win. We'll recover. The next thing to launch is also going to Manticore. This is a 3.75 meter rocket. It's basically just there to deliver fuel. I got really tired of, where is Manticore? It's over there. I got really tired of doing ISRU trips back and forth and tanker trips back and forth and said, you know what? I'm going to build a fifth version of the fuel tanker, and I'm going to launch it on a gigantic rocket, and we're going to solve the problem that way. So here we go. So it was a bit of a weird launch. We did not recover the first stage because we launched too shallow for this upper stage and then took way too long to get into orbit. But it's okay. We're just throwing money at my problems lately. And let's dock. Okay. Alright, we've arrived. Let's see how much of that fuel I can get into one place. Let's synthesize it all into here, shall we? There we go. We got one of these. It's not as efficient as it was in my test, but that's okay. Pump all that out. Should be enough to fill up Aboleth all over again. Yep. Yep. And then some. Well, let's see what else I can pump out of this, and then we can get rid of this thing. Because it's just supposed to be a big tank. That's all it's supposed to be. I've transferred some fuel. We've just got a little bit of fuel left in this. Let's, did we use up all the monopropellant, or did I just not send it full? I don't remember. But let's leave it like that. Quick save. Let's call that good. Undock. Turn retrograde. And as expensive as this thing is, hopefully the fact that it's just a big fuel tank helps us with the fact that this is meant to be disposable. So let's get out of here. We don't need to clutter up space with more giant tanks. Hopefully I left enough fuel into deorbit. Yes. I'll just burn everything out and we'll just descend very fast. There we go, we're just gonna fall. Looks like we're gonna go to land. Let's see how much survives. Probably not much with this kind of descent. Hey, you're right. Well, I could have stowed the solar panels, but I didn't even think of it. I think we're going to land, but maybe we'll fall short. I think this is land, though, which means not much will survive. And the engine might overheat. Boom. There goes the tanks. There goes the tank. Alright, and this part can be landing on someone's house. Beachside property. By the cactuses, it seems like. And nothing is left. There, we cleaned up after ourselves. Now, the Aboleth can finally go on its mission to Minmus. It's been waiting for life support and fuel, and now we have those things, so let's undock. I've tried to press Alt and I instead pressed Shift. It seems like we're okay. We had engines pointing in lots of different directions. We probably changed our inclination a little bit. Yeah, I just fired up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different engines all at once, and they're all pointed different directions. But I think we're okay. I don't think I need to revert or anything. I think it's alright. Now I'm going to press the correct button, switch to that, turn retrograde, and we're gonna get away from the space station, and then I'll plot an encounter with Minmus. While we're here, we actually have some repair work to do, so I'm gonna quick save, and then I need to find our engineer, Anne Fry. Can you EVA? No, you have no hatch. Where are you? Anne Fry is in there. Are you an engineer? Yes, you are. And you were rank 3. Let's transfer you to... how about... this? There's a hatch there. Okay. EVA. Hatch is obstructed. Oh. Okay, well then... transfer into here. And let's retract this solar panel, because it's right next to that. EVA. Okay, do not break anything. The whole point is that you're here to fix things, so be very careful. Alright. Alright, hang on, I gotta look something up. Yeah, I tried to look up what was going wrong with my EVA controls, but honestly, I don't even remember if there's something wrong with them. I just have to be careful. Alright. don't think we need lights. We can see just fine. Inventory. Inventory. Let's take one of these. Close. So he now has a repair kit. Why do I have music? I don't know, it's fine. Because I paused, I guess. Oh, it requires 4 kits. Okay. That's expensive. I'm gonna have to send up more kits before I know it. I assume I have to have them on my person. Open the inventory. Inventory. 2, 3, 4. Okay, be careful of all the solar panels around you. Repair. 4 kits required. This part needs... Yeah. I know, I have them. Hang on. I've never used these tools. Okay. And Fry Kerman. What do I do? I don't know how to use this. This is the stock thing. Somebody who knows how to play Kerbal Space Program is going to be yelling at their screen, but I've never used the stock repair stuff. Board. I much prefer Kerbal Inventory System. Let's see if I can do anything about editing their stuff. And Fry. View? Well, that doesn't help. Okay, so what's happened is that I put stock cargo parts into the Kerbal Inventory System inventory. And so I don't know if there is any way that I can take a cargo part out of inventory and then somehow have use of it for the stock system. But I'm going to experiment for a little bit longer. For example, if I go into my inventory and I take one of these out, then I close this. Oh. Chase after it. Chase after it, and Fry. So now I can go to this. Oh, no. No. Let's go in that direction. Oh. It's going every which way is what it is. It's... What? I'm chasing after it. No matter which way I go, it's going the other way. It's running away from me. Well, that clearly wasn't the way to go about it, because now I can't get it back. Inventory. How do I get it back? I don't know how I get it back, but I also feel like that wasn't the point. The point was, I'm trying to... There. I took off my parachute. And now I need to... No. I need to grab this. Grab... Why is it dancing around all over the place? Why can't I just get control over it? I need to grab this I need to grab this and put it... What? Close. I opened a deferred rendering thing. Oh, I'm having a really weird perspective issue. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do that, but it's interesting to know that I can take my backpack off and then lose it and then not be able to recover it, which is an interesting feature. Anyway, I don't understand how this works. We're just going to live with one less solar panel until I figure it out, because this is stupid. I'm going to reload. Let's just make sure the Anfry is in the spacecraft. Yeah, Anfry's in there. Okay. Well, we can't use these repair kits as far as I know, because I can't get them out of his inventory and put them into cargo. So I have to send up a vehicle with repair kits as cargo in order for them to get a hold of it. And that's not going to happen for a long time, because I can't edit the cargo of the craft that I'm built. That's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Anyway, let me see what's next. Now I'm putting the useless EVA repair kits back into storage, because it seems like MKS is not compatible with Kerbal Inventory System, which seems weird to me, because I can't get into the habitat because I have stuff in my inventory. So that's fun. Okay, now we're gonna go back into the spacecraft and forget this ever happened. So I've set up a maneuver for Aboleth to go out to Minmus. Let's perform it. Okay, we're missing the Moho transfer window. That's fine. Okay, we're on our way to Minmus. I'll set an alarm for our Sphere of Influence change in 8 days. That's going to be it for today. Thank you for joining. I hope you had a good time. And next time, after a little bit of micromanaging Aboleth and stuff, we are going to get to explore the moon, which is a funny thing to say on, at the end of episode, 38, wherever we're on. But that's because we are going to go to the moon in earnest this time. There's 15 biomes on the moon that we can get rigorous science from. So I've got a plan for doing that. That's a little bit more ambitious than what I was originally planning to do. So I believe that will be next time. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.